Turns out that Harrison Ford doesn't want Chris Pine or Pratt or anyone to play Indiana Jones, and I hope someone can tell Harrison Ford that he's an actor, he doesn't own the IP. But all jokes aside, if this was like 6 years ago, I'd have been upset. I would have said, hey, I want the new Indiana Jones movie. What is going on? But it's 2023. Do I really want another sequel? The answer is no. If they were to announce another Indiana... Oh, wait, they did. I'm not watching it. Okay? I can remain disinterested longer than they can stay solvent. And the reality is, you can't even make an Indiana Jones movie today. Like, how can you go into an ancient temple when every single ancient temple on Earth already has a Starbucks next to it? You can see it from the Google Maps. Like, you're asking for the audience to have a suspension of disbelief much larger than it is possible. I mean, imagine the boulder scene from the first Indiana Jones. EFAP would eat that alive. They would be like, well, how come for like thousands of years that boulder was suspended? By what was it suspended? By what mechanisms? Didn't they rust? What if like a monkey would have gotten in and sat on that pedestal and activated the counterweight? Like, I could see Rags and Mahler do that shit, right? Because people have different expectations now of movies than they used to have in the past. It's much more difficult to suspend the disbelief. That's why we don't get the classic Bond villains that leave the room while the laser is on the table, slowly inching away towards James Bond, right? But, no, I don't think you can make an Indiana Jones now. Unless you're, like, making it so that it's kind of like a space adventure, and he goes on a spaceship and it's on a different planet and he finds, like, a Sith temple there or something like that. Yeah, sure, that could work. But if you really want to, you're really adamant on making a new Indiana Jones, the way I would do it, and this is definitely not how the Westerners would do it, because they're incapable of creating anything, or even continuing something that they have, I would take advantage of Harrison Ford while he is alive. You know, this is unfortunately, when we're talking about actors, they get old and eventually they retire and pass away. This doesn't happen with comic books and anime, obviously, but with movies, it does. So, while Harrison Ford is still alive, you would have him have a son, because that's something that actually existed. The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. That was a thing, and it was quite popular, by the way, and that's what you should do. Have him get a son, and in the first episode, Indiana Jones is the one that's still capable and still does a lot of things, and the son is the apprentice. He starts off as being very brash, uncalculated, quick to anger, but through the guidance and the wisdom of old Indiana Jones, by the end of the movie, he becomes a good archaeologist and can carry on the mantle. I'm pretty sure that's not what they're going to do. They're instead going to have a woman, which is something that I really disagree, because we already have Tomb Raider. Right? There's a competing franchise which already has a woman as the main star. So, like, you want to stay away from that. Like, let Tomb Raider be Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones be Indiana Jones. I wouldn't want Lara Croft to have a son and Tomb Raider to have a male character, because that's not what Tomb Raider is. So Indiana Jones should have a male lead, right? In order to, not necessarily compete with Tomb Raider, although it would be interesting to have a crossover event, right, between Indiana Jones and Lara Croft. That would be interesting. But anyway, right, so my point is, like, they're not going to do that. They're going to have a woman, which is going to overshadow Indiana Jones. Like, she's probably going to be capable and competent at everything. Pretty much like Rey from Star Wars when Harrison Ford was there as Han Solo. And that's what's going to happen. And in the end, of course, Harrison Ford will probably die, and you're going to have the woman carrying the mantle. Yeah, boring. I don't know what to say. But hopefully I'm wrong, and we're going to see the new... Well, actually, you're going to see the new Indiana Jones movie. I definitely am not interested in seeing it, unless I hear that it's overwhelmingly good. Like, if everyone comes up to me and says, oh, V, I went and I saw the new the geriatrics Indiana Jones, and it was excellent, you should go see it, then I would consider it. But I really doubt that's going to be the case. So anyway, Harrison Ford says that he doesn't want other people to play the role. And he actually claims that when he is gone, there is no more Indiana Jones. really disagree, especially when we are in the age of remakes and reboots and reimaginings. After his extremely Indiana Jones looking run as the guy who tames dinosaurs in the Jurassic World movies, many expected Chris Pratt to pick up the Indy hat and the whip. But Ford says he doesn't want anyone to do it. Like, well, I understand where Ford is coming from. Who the fuck cares? It's like, it's not his decision. This is a hell of a way to tell Chris Pine, Ford said. I'm sorry, man. It's like he meant to say Pratt. He's not the only one to get all the hot Chris's confused. But hell, maybe Pine was also up for the role too. Regardless, Ford doesn't want anyone playing Indiana Jones. Maybe he'll do what he's done to some of his other rebooted characters like Han Solo and advocate for Dr. Jones to get killed. Yeah, again, like, this is a little bit different because Han Solo was a character in the Star Wars universe that played an important role, but he wasn't the main star. There wasn't a Skywalker, basically. Meanwhile, when you have an IP called Indiana Jones, they can always reboot it, and they can cast whomever they want, even if Indiana dies. Meanwhile, in Star Wars, it's more difficult to have like a reimagining and have a Han Solo. Well, actually, you know what? You can do that in Star Wars as well. Like, you can have like the reboot of Star Wars. It starts all the way from the beginning, and you re-follow Luke's journey. But that would be boring, wouldn't it? Like everyone knows what's going to happen. It would be really dull. If they wanted to, they should, like, they have a galaxy to explore. They should do anything else but the Skywalker soap opera yet again. So anyway, we're with Ford on this one, says the publication. Who writes this? Esquire. Esquire, from my take, is usually like pretty liberal. It's kind of weird to see them agree with Harrison Ford. Are there any comments? There's one comment. I'd be okay with Chris Pratt being a colleague of Indiana Jones and there being a franchise around that. That is a good point, though. You know, it's like, why does it have to be Indiana Jones? Like, you can make a similar spin-off or a movie within that universe. I believe, like, they consider doing that with James Bond, like another agent. But, like, for some reason, they just don't want to. I guess, like, they're really tied to the IP, as if they believe that's enough in order to put butts in seats. And I think, like, that was the case several years ago, but now people are more skeptical when they hear that there is another sequel to a famous IP, because they have been disappointed so many times. Am I wrong on this one? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Are you actually interested in seeing the new Indiana Jones? Please do let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you guys there. Take care.